Okay. Hey viewers, today we have Purvangi Shah. She is a Bachelor in Science in Economics specialization and she has recently completed her MBA from NMIMS Mumbai. So today she will be sharing her scoop with all of us. So hi Purvangi, how are you?
Hi, Vijay. Sir, I'm absolutely good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So how is lockdown treating you?
Very well indeed. Actually, I've been out for a long time, so I'm getting to spend time with my family. So I think it's working out to be the best for me. I'm getting lots and lots of sleep, food, and family time. So I think it's a positive thing for me.
Yeah, after 2 years of rigor at NM, you are at least getting some free
Yes,
time.
yes, yes. And in fact, before that also because I was, doing my graduation also from outside. So I think it's been 5, 6 years I've been away. So now I'm having that quality time with them. So it's pretty much good.
Wow, great, great. So, can you take us to the viewers through about your profile, about your educational qualification, etc., in addition to what you
Yeah.
just said?
Okay, so I just would like to say that I'm from Calcutta, so I've done my schooling entirely from there, and I got really interested in the economics. So I've pursued BSc in Economic Honors, with my majors being in Stats, Maths, and Economics from Symbiosis School of Economics, Pune. And while I was doing that, I got really interested in finance, and I wanted to explore the broader spectrum of it, which is why I went to do my MBA in finance from NMIMS Mumbai. And now I'm going to enter my corporate career soon, once the lockdown gives me the opportunity to. So I think that's pretty much it about the educational background from my side.
Okay, great, great. So, when did you decided like from economics to you MBA, economics to MBA, and you are planning to go for an MBA? What motivated you actually?
Yeah, so I had like two options on a broader span. I had either the master's in economics or MBA. But what actually pushed me towards MBA was that I didn't want to do something which was very restricted to one subject. So because economics was majorly theoretical and research based, and I was doing applied economics, but all of it was somehow related to one particular subject. And I didn't know whether I would want to spend the rest of my life into that one particular thing because I wasn't even clear about what the broader spectrum is about. So I thought I'll rather pursue something which gives me a broader understanding also about economics but related streams like finance, like other subjects which are related in finance, like statistics and all. And then I can decide after I've done everything what I want to in the end want to pursue. So I wanted to do something more broad, which is why I went for doing MBA.
Oh, great, great, great. So let's talk a bit more about NMIMS. So can you give our viewers certain insights which only a student would be knowing about?
There are a lot. So one thing which everybody knows is that NMIMS does not have a campus, like campus life kind of a thing. It does not have a hostel life. But you know what really works out is everybody knows that we have the fanciest building alive. I mean, it's a five-star building. It's like you feel like you're in a five-star hotel. So that the moment you enter into NMIMS, you feel that lavish moment, and you feel like a celebrity walking in inside some huge campus. So that is one important thing. And even though we don't have the campus, my batchmates would agree with me when I say that we have our own set of adda points. So for Holi, we have a society fix. For Diwali, we have a society fix. So even though we don't have a campus, everybody is in that particular building on that particular day. So that's one beautiful insight. And I think which most colleges don't have and would specifically come down to NMIMS is we have a social internship in the first year end in February, which is known as VCare, which gives us, that kind of in-depth, touch down to the backdrops of that part of society, which we don't really look into that much. So that kind of helps us all to delve into the reality part of the world as well. So that kind of helped up and is very special to each one of us. And obviously, clubs, committees, and fun is in depth very special to NMIMS because there's a very beautiful culture out there and we have like so many events and so it's a huge batch actually. So we can't be a part of everything, but there is everything, something or the other going on every day, which kind of gives us the opportunity to be at our same levels every day. So I think that's what NMIMS is all about.
Okay, great, great, great. So I guess they are already, with the help of infrastructure, they are already giving you a feel of a good corporate life.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, definitely.
Nice. Okay, let's talk about your first year. So, can you brief the viewers about the rigor part when you entered and how was your first 3 months at NMIMS?
Oh, now that I think about it, I'm already, in tension because first year was there was so much happening because, when you enter, right from the time you enter, you are supposed to have, your clubs and committees, interviews, which are very stressful. And then you have to, build your CV for your internships that are going to happen. So first year, first term specifically, first semester is very, very hectic. You do not get time because there are Harvard tests, then there are, club committee selections, then you have to, cope up with the level of studies that is happening because not everybody is versed with it. So the first semester is a new thing to get attached to the, campus and to actually, get attached to Mumbai for that matter, because most of them are living out for the first time. That is again a challenge. And then the internships come up, and that is again a cat race, where you have to, keep your head up all the time. And that completely ends up the first year, while there's so much, and there's like so many interviews, so many second year interviews, your internship, then VCare, which I just spoke about, which is a social internship, and on top of that, managing a lot of case study competitions because there are a lot in the first year, and at the same time managing your first time being outside of home for many. So I think that kind of really puts up a pressure around you. So I don't think there was a minute of time to breathe in the first year, I think. Second year is comparatively chill if you've got placed earlier or something, but first year is too rigorous. It's very rigorous.
Wow, great, great, great. Okay, let's go a bit in flashback and let's talk about your preparation for CAT or NMAT. And if you can
Yeah,
also brief about your experience in regards to CD and PI, which NMIMS takes up. So
correct,
that will
correct.
help a lot of viewers.
Yeah. So I did my graduation didn't give me too much time to prepare for this. So after my graduation, I'd taken a 3-4 months gap, and I started preparing for it around the same time as of now, because NMAT is the first exam in that respect compared to CAT, and also I had started my preparation that way only around the time of June only. So I think my preparation was very strategy based. Rather than giving too many hours into one thing, I wanted to give worthy hours, where my hours weren't wasted. So I had my plan set up the entire day. So if I go through one day of my preparation, it's usually about, studying quant, because you have to compete with engineers whose quants are very, very high level. So, you have to match up to their level. So for non-engineers, always quants is a big question mark. So, quants, I used to start with basics all the time. And I used to go by level one, level two kind of a thing. So I used to complete level one of all the topics, then go to level two, then go to level three. And I used to fix up hours in the day where the most, fresh kind of a time for me in the day was during the night time. Like I'm a night study person. So I used to spend, I used to start at 9 o'clock in the night, and I used to start with quants. When I used to get a little lousy, I used to again get back to DILR, because that's something that pushes you back to the energy. And then I used to go to verbal, and then I used to wake up in the morning. The first thing I used to do is give up a mock. So I used to rely a lot on mocks. That mocks is the best way to analyze where you are going behind, because you practice something that's different, but actually applying it in that pressure is something different. So mocks help you give that reality check that even though you have done some topic very, very thoroughly, it might be that you're spending too many minutes on it when you're actually giving the mock. So I used to give mocks. Then the next day I used to analyze where I'm going behind. If one topic, for example, I'm taking too much time or I couldn't attempt, then I used to make sure I start from the basics of that topic again. I used to keep revising. And obviously there were those one or two topics where I never touched. So I found out that this is my weakest part, that even if I spend too much time studying on it, I'm not going to crack that one question. And for that 4 marks, I can't jeopardize my other marks. So I used to make sure that I know that one topic that I'm not going to solve at all. Because it's not about solving everything, it's about solving what you're good at. And NMAT is all about time management. So that's where the difference between NMAT and CAT comes. So I used to set up timers. So if I'm doing a sum, for example, for 20 minutes, the next time when I'm doing the same level of difficulty sum, I used to challenge myself and do it in like 15 minutes. Then if I can't do, I used to cancel the sum. So I used to every day put up like a minute less so that I'm, putting myself into the pressure situation, even if I'm not giving the mocks. And then I used to give sectional test and all according to what I was facing or lagging behind at. Now that was my preparation strategy, mocks and completely practice based and strategy based. When and what time of the day you want to solve what. Coming to the CDPI, when it comes to my personal experience, so NM has a very rigorous CD where it does not have a elimination then and there. So everybody is supposed to sit for CD and everybody is supposed to sit for PI. So what my strategy was that because it's a case discussion, so everybody would get out the main points which is directly coming in front of them on the paper. What I used to do is find out a new perspective to whatever is given so that even if I get only one entry point in the case discussion, I'm at least making sense. So I used to do that. So I used to always in that 10 minutes when you are given to read the case, I used to make that one point which according to me was one point which nobody else would ever make. Obviously, if someone makes, then it's your bad luck. But you should always find out that one special point about the particular case. And then obviously, if I'm getting more entry points, I used to, do the normal CD thing when I'm entering a normal point, or I'm, entering with a point or making someone enter. So that's our basic tactics. But majorly, my strategy used to be giving, one entire special point. Coming to the personal interview, so NM's personal interview is more scarier than the case discussion because they kind of ask you everything. So when I entered, they started off with the hygiene questions, which is tell me about yourself and why do you want to do MBA? Why do you want to get into NMIMS? Why finance? Why from economics to finance? Why do you want to do this change and all those things? And once they asked the hygiene questions, because my extracurriculars are very strong, so they kind of focused on that also. So NM, the personal interview is not completely based on academics. If you have special arenas about yourself, which is extracurriculars, you're into sports, you're into Olympiads, then you can kind of actually live on that and you can actually make it your strength because they kind of ask you a lot of questions on that. So when they completed with my hobbies, then they went on to the GK part. Then they went on to the reality and economics. So they asked me how is economics working right now? What do you think about behavioral economics? Because I had an economics panelist right in front of me, so he kind of asked me in-depth questions. Few I knew, few I couldn't answer. So I was honest enough to say that I don't have that much knowledge. And then they went on to asking me, stressful questions that, if you get NMIMS Bangalore, or if you get this, or if you don't get into finance, if we don't take you, what is your plan ahead? Those kind of strategy questions where they just wanted to know my loyalty. And they kind of asked me a lot of questions on my family and how my extracurriculars throughout my childhood have helped me mold into the person I am. So they wanted to understand every phase of my life, how has it impacted me and made me what I am today. So that's pretty much about the CDPI from my end.
So this is like 360-degree check that they are doing. First crack at
Yes.
entrance, go through CD, then ask
Yes,
each
yes,
and every
absolute.
question
That is a
itself.
complete screening. They want to know you in and out.
Great, great, great. Okay, so can you give certain guidance to students? Like NMAT has this special thing that you can attempt 3 times it in a year, in a two
Correct,
and a
correct.
half month. So any pro tip that you want to give to the viewers?
Yeah, so when it comes to the attempts part, one big suggestion that I would like to give is you have so 5 windows. So try. So what happens is that in the first 2 windows, you exactly know that what kind of questions are coming, and you kind of before the cat also because other entrance exams also come by the time you give the second window. So it kind of gives you that concentration level for 15 days, and then in case you are not being able to clear the cutoff expected, then you at least have 1 month after it to give the last attempt in the last window. So what people do is wait for the third window. So what happens is they give third window mein ek, they give fourth window mein ek, and then what happens by the time they realize where they're lagging behind, it's already the time to give the third attempt. So there is no point of giving the third attempt when you can't prepare for it. So I think the timing really matters, and I think what really matters in terms of guidance is that please plan your timetable accordingly. You give your mocks and you understand which of the three sections you want to attempt first. So for me, it always used to be my mid-level strength, which was my DILR. Then I used to go for something which used to keep me, which like verbal, where I needed some kind of calmness and I couldn't do it in the end in the time pressure. And then I used to do fonts because I was good at fonts. So that kind of a thing, you should plan for yourself what combination of the sequence is working for you, and that can only happen by giving mocks. You will understand where you can give the best kind of sequence in the most pressured situation. So that is another thing. And third thing being, know where which topics you're good at and which topics you're not good at, so that you waste your time only on things that you are sure that will fetch you those 3 marks, because there's no negative. And attempt all the questions. Don't leave a single question, because you never know which fluke might just enter up into a 3 marker, and that's a big difference when it comes to cutoff. I think that's the guidance I would like to give the viewers.
Okay, great, great. That's it from my side as well. Thank you so much, Purvangi, for sharing your experience with the
Thank
viewers.
you. Thank you.
And we wish you luck for your future endeavors.
Thank you. And it was so lovely. The session was so insightful. Thank you so much. It just brought me back to my MBA days. So thank you so much for getting me this opportunity to, speak to the public on my experience.
Great, great. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.